Hey guys, DIY Maniac here. So I'm back again with another video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to do a coolant flush or drain and fill on my 2013 Honda Civic. So this will be applicable for all 9th generation 2012 to 2015 with the 1.8 liter, but honestly these steps are all pretty much applicable to most generation Honda Civics and reality most cars. But these details will be more specific to this 9th generation Civic. So there's a few things we need to take into consideration before we go ahead and do this. Want to make sure the engine is cold. You never want to do an engine, open up the radiator or do any kind of coolant change when the engine is hot. You're going to burn yourself, you're going to hurt yourself, not worth it. So the engine is cold, we have it in. Some key things we're going to need: a large drain pan to put underneath the car to drain the coolant into. We're going to need our replacement coolant. In my case, I'm using the Honda Long Life Fluid. So this is the Honda. It comes diluted. There's your part number there. So it comes diluted. It's 1 gallon, 3.78 liter. It's $21 and directly from Honda. Yes, you could go to your big box store and buy the generic stuff. I always prefer to use the stuff from the manufacturer. That's my preference. I'm not saying that's what you have to do. So we're going to take up the video. I'm going to show you the different things we need to do. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to want to do is locate our drain cock, which is the drain valve for the radiator, which is what we're going to turn to allow the fluid to drain out of the radiator. So you're going to be looking down. I'm going to try to get the camera on it for you guys. So if we look right there, you could see it. So I'm going to put the beam of light is right on it. As I move the light away, that's where the drain cock is. You could see it. It's like a little wing nut that's made out of plastic. So right there, light is on it, light's coming off it. Now you see it. So that's the drain cock. We're going to be turning counterclockwise, which will allow the fluid to drain out. Directly underneath the drain cock, you could see there in the plastic undershielding, the skid plate, there's a hole that Honda has put there. So when we open up that valve, that's where the fluid's going to drain through down into our drain pan. So if you want to know where it is in relation to the front of the car, locate the radiator cap. Straight ahead of the radiator cap and down is where that drain cock is. I don't think you're going to be able to see it at this angle, but if you wanted to kind of get an understanding of where it's located in relation to the front of the car. So we're going to have to reach in. You can reach that from the top. You're going to put your drain pan underneath the car. You're going to reach your hand down counterclockwise on that drain cock. Slowly open it. You'll get a trickle of fluid coming out. We want to remove the radiator cap. That's going to allow air behind liquid to allow the radiator to drain more completely. So I'm going to go ahead and get that step started, and then we're going to come back. So I opened up that drain cock, drain valve, and as you can see, the fluid is draining out. Typical Honda coolant has that bluish tint to it. So we're going to allow all the fluid to drain out of the radiator. So you got to remember, we're doing a drain and fill. So we're only removing the coolant that's in the radiator, not what's in the engine itself. I'm going to talk more about that later in the video. So we're going to give that time to drain. Like I said, remember to remove the radiator cap to allow air behind water so it drains much quicker. And I'm going to get back to you once this is finished draining. So while it's draining, you could go ahead, and if you look here is your coolant overflow reservoir, which in my opinion on this car has to be the worst design I've ever seen. They make it almost impossible to look at, to even get a reading on. The only real way to do it is you shine a flashlight down and you have to look on the side of the reservoir to kind of see where the levels are. So you want to drain that. You could do that by siphoning it out with a rubber hose. Or I guess you could remove the reservoir if you remove the battery and all the different stuff. But anyways, the reservoir doesn't hold that much, but you want to get that fluid out and you want to top it off with new fluid and put it in between the min and the max. And then we'll reevaluate if we need to add more once we've added new coolant to the system and we've gone through the bleeding procedure. So now my coolant has fully drained. We have no more coming out. So what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to measure the amount that came out So we kind of know how much we're removing in a drain and fill. So to give you guys the answer of how much coolant we were able to remove by simply doing a drain, we removed about 3.5 liters. The 1.8 liter in the Honda Civic, now correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, holds 7.1 liters. So we removed half of the capacity of the coolant. So this Rain-X windshield fluid, normally 3.8 liters, comes up to about here. So I'd say we're 3.5 liters we removed. So therefore only half the system. So if we wanted to get it all out, we could do a flush of the system. That's where we would go in line with the cooling hoses, back flush with water, remove all the coolant. That's not the way I like to do it. I like to make my life a little bit easier. What I like to do is I do this particular procedure. So I removed half the coolant. I will refill with fresh coolant. I'll then run for a couple of days and I'll do another drain and fill. So now I'm removing 75% roughly. If we start doing that math of elimination, yes, the second time we do it, we are going to be removing some of that new coolant we put in as well, but a lot of it's going to be the old coolant as well. You could do that 2 or 3 times. By the time you get to the third time, you pretty much know you've gotten out all the old coolant. So this is 3.5 liters out of the radiator. Figure maybe another ½ liter of the reservoir, so 4 liters. We've removed maybe 60% of the coolant just by doing that drain and fill. But like I said, I'm going to be doing it at least twice, if not 3 times, depending on how much fluid I have left, to ensure that I've pretty much washed out all the old fluid. Yes, is it a little more time-wise? I don't think so. I think it's easier doing it this way. A little more costly, because yes, you are going through the extra fluid. I just find it easier and takes the guessing work out of it. Because once we start back flushing with water, we don't know how much water now is in the block, how you're going to do that calculation to get your 50-50 mix. From my understanding, and I can't find it, there is no drain plug out of the block to get all the coolant out. You're always going to have coolant in the system, which means you'll always have water if you do a flush. And I don't know how the math would even work to figure out our proper dilution. And being here in Canada where it gets very cold, I need to make sure I'm having enough antifreeze water mixture, so 50-50, if not 55-45 antifreeze to water, to ensure proper protection. So we've done that, so now I'm going to go ahead and put in the new fluid. And guys, I just wanted to make a correction and show some calculations. So as you saw in the video, I made a mistake. It's not 7.1 liters, the total volume of coolant in the car, including the overflow. It's 5.6 as per the manual. So let's look this over. The first drain, we're removing a total of 3.4 liters. So all that is old fluid. So we removed 61% of the total fluid in the system. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a second drain. As I said, we're not doing a full flush, so we're always keeping old fluid, in this case 39% in the engine. So now we're going to do a second drain after about a week. So we've allowed the old and the new fluid to become uniform together. We're going to do a second drain of 3.4 liters. Well, of that 3.4 liters we're draining in the second drain, 61% of it is new fluid that we had put in, 39% of it old fluid. So meaning 2.07 liters of the second drain is made up of new fluid that we put in the first fill, and 1.32 liters of old fluid. So if we do the total calculation of how much old fluid we've removed in total from doing both fill and drains, we've removed the first time a total of 3.4 liters of old fluid from the first drain. That was all old fluid. And on the second drain, we removed 1.32 liters of old fluid, giving us a total of 4.72 liters total old fluid removed from the system, or 84% over 2 drains. And then if we do a third time, we're going to pretty much make that into 95% of the old fluid removed. So that's just a calculation of how, if you do 2 drain and fills, what it gives you in total of old fluid being removed and percentage wise. So I hope that gives you guys a better understanding. The way we want to do that, we want to put our funnel, well, first refill our overflow reservoir in between min and max, like I stated. Put a funnel in the reservoir, remove the drain cap, put the funnel in, start pouring our fluid slowly, to allow if there is any air at the bottom, well, there is air at the bottom of the radiator, but allowing it to come out so we're not forcing the air in by pouring water to the coolant too quickly. So do it slowly, allowing the air to come out until it's full. Then we're going to start the car. We're going to make sure the heater is on, so we're getting circulation through the heater core since the heater is on. And we're going to get it up to operating temperature, and we're going to look for air bubbles coming out. We're going to squeeze our upper hose to get all the air out of the hose. We're going to squeeze the lower hose. And what I also like to do is jacking up the front of the car. So this is the high point of our car, of our cooling system. We want to get it as high as possible so any air in the system will automatically come to the surface. I don't think you need to jack it up, but it's something I've always done, is jacking up the front of the car to get that high point as high as possible. We're then going to let it cool down. We're going to recheck our reservoir and our radiator. And once all our fluids are good, we're good to go. Like I said, personally, I'm then going to drive a couple of days. I'm going to do the same procedure again. So guys, this is the way I do a drain and fill. If you have any questions, definitely leave them down below. And let me know any good or bad comments that you may have. So I'm going to leave it there because I already explained what I'm going to be doing. So thanks a lot for watching, guys.